What is going on, guys? It's your boy Slick, and today we're here and we're going to be talking about the new light tank options. I guess you'd call them options. There's scouting now in War Thunder. There's going to be scouting coming to War Thunder, and it's just in time for some of these new tanks. So in the background, you're watching me play the AMX 1390 on the dev server, one of my favorite tanks coming this patch. Super excited. Light tanks have kind of been not useless in War Thunder, but they've had to play a role that is very difficult. They have to support and flank and shoot people in the side and shoot people in the weak spots, with getting little to no gain over anybody else on the battlefield, even though they're in a vehicle that's way harder to play. And Gaijin said that, that's no longer the case. They're going to introduce scouting. So as you can see on the dev server, I'm playing right now and there's a V button. The V button also is the same button that goes into my scope, but this will spot enemy tanks for 30 seconds and you will get a RP type thing coming from you spotting the enemy tank. And you can also do, I think, air spawns after being in a light tank are quicker or less SP. And, you get rewards for just scouting and stuff like that. Now, another thing is you can repair any tank on the battlefield on your team, but teammates can no longer repair each other unless it's only the light tanks can repair things. So you actually have to play a role. It's scary to say that because, in War Thunder, teamwork isn't the most prevalent thing. So when you really have to rely on people to come repair you every single time, you better pray that you have some decent, competent light players or light tank players. I'm going to read what Gaijin said for scouting, and we're going to talk about how this actually affects in-game, if I like it or not, and then you guys can comment down below. We'll have a little discussion, talk about the entire thing going on. So, the first feature for the above types of vehicles, active scouting. From now on, your low-caliber gun is no excuse for retreating. Scout the enemy positions and pass the info to your allies. You will receive a decent reward. The scouting feature will work differently depending on the game mode used. In order to scout the environment in arcade mode, just select the target and push scout button. May be bound in the settings. After the enemy marker will become visible for your teammates for 30 seconds. Now, I believe the third person rendering like a chevron on that you actually see by the people's names, I think that is a stationary scout. I think it pops up in one spot and doesn't move. But I think the map marker is a real-time scouting thing. Now, obviously, you guys aren't going to be able to tell in this gameplay in the background. That's not really why I put it there. I just put it because I wanted to see the new light tank play. This is obviously has markers on every tank on the battlefield, so it's a little different. So don't think it's going to work exactly like that. In realistic mode, you will have to use binoculars or sight, your sniper view. Once in this view, put your crosshair on the enemy vehicle and press the scout button. After that, the marker will appear over the enemy tank and will be updated for 30 seconds. So that's about it. Updated for 30 seconds. Did I alt-tab? I'm watching this gameplay now, and I think I alt-tabbed in the background. That's pretty odd. I must have. Now, repairs. This is what the light tanks... let's finish that scouting paragraph. All allies will receive the recon data, which means that you cannot apply your skills to vehicles that have already been scouted. So you can't scout tanks that have already been scouted. It doesn't matter. Passing enemy coordinates takes time, so you may use the scouting feature after a specific cooldown period. Now, there is a cooldown period for the scouting mechanic, and I think it's maybe 30 seconds, maybe a little less than 30 seconds. Doesn't seem like it takes that long right now, especially with a good crew. This applies even if you have not been successful in your reconnaissance. So even if you use your scout feature and you don't scout any tank, you'll still have a cooldown time, so every time you use it. Now, for repairs, there is one extremely important feature for light vehicles. They can provide repairs for every member on the team, even if they are not in a squad. So if you are playing a heavy tank, for example, select the repairing short message. An ally who may be driving a light tank can assist you, even if they are not members of your squad. So I don't know if they removed completely squad repairing, but light tanks are definitely a huge issue now, or a huge help now in the repairing field. So this helps light tanks kind of find a heavy to follow around and scout for them and get points, and then help them repair and get points in other ways than killing people. There's a lot of tanks in this game that aren't the most adequate for destroying tanks of their tier. There's plenty of them actually, and it's pretty insane. But Why is this? I need to pause this. Oh, that's why. Sony Vegas crashed. I was trying to watch the video in the background, and I didn't understand why it wasn't working. But that's fine. We don't need it for the commentary. Basically, these light tanks, I like this idea. Now, I think 30 seconds on the minimap, if it's a real-time location, maybe a little much. I think maybe 15 seconds would be more appropriate. We'll have to see when it comes to the live server how it actually responds and how it works with a lot of tanks. But what I've noticed and what I've done, you'll see in the background, is I played Eastern Europe, not Eastern Europe, Middle East, which is a new map, by the way, from the April Fool's event. And I drove up the hill, sat on the right-hand side, and I scouted tanks. And I just kept scouting tanks. And obviously, I wouldn't have known how much RP it is, but I did feel like I had a purpose. So as long as the RP gain, the SP gain from doing the scouting is worth it, it is 100% going to be a fun feature added. I think playing a tank and not necessarily focusing on killing other tanks is really nice. It's a really calming, fun play style. I used to play a lot of scout tanks in World of Tanks, the AMX 13s to be specific. That's how I got my AMX 30 in World of Tanks. And I used to love using those tanks to scout, hide, and play very passive. And then as soon as the wrong person is next to you in the wrong time, you can unload on their side. And that's pretty much how these tanks are going to play. The AMX 13s are going to play. We'll talk about that more later on today. I have another video coming out. But in terms of just scouting, the M22, I think, is part of this. The M41. The only thing that I see that's a big problem is the Brits don't have any light tanks that can scout. I don't think they really have any tanks that would fill that role regardless, but there are definitely no scout tanks in the British tree. It's undoubted. They showed the entire list of all the tanks that are active scouts now, and the Brits are not in that list. It's pretty crazy. I want to see the list. Designated scout vehicles. So let's read these off just so we can go over some of the tanks. I mean, Germany only has 3 as well, and they're at separate tiers, but I think the tiers that they are in, it's helpful. I don't know why the Puma isn't in there, but for the USA, we have the M22, the M5A1, the M24, the Bulldog, the T92, the Scorpion, the Ontos, the Sheridan, the T114 Bat, the Thunder League Chaffee, and the premium M5A1. For Germany, we have the RU251, the Bagel Panzer, and the Panzer II-H. For Russia, we have the T-80, the ASU-57, the PT-76, the ASU-85, the Object 906, which is interesting, the BMP-1, the Type 62. Japan gets the M24, the Bulldog, and the Type 60 SPRG. France gets the AMX 13, and it seemed that all the other AMXs, along with the 13 SS11, were scouts. So Britain doesn't have anything, and I think that Germany needs the Puma. I think the Pack Puma, the Puma, and maybe there's got to be another fast tank in Germany that runs around like that that I'm not thinking of right now. But I'm happy. I'm happy that this change has been added. I'm happy that they're adding these things. I think they're going to be great for the game. They're going to change up and add another role. You know, there's really support tanks and then frontal assault tanks in this game. Now we have frontal assault tanks, support tanks, and scout tanks. Scout tanks are obviously in a supporting category, but their role is so different that I would give them a different name. You know, I'd call them scouts. And I'm super excited to see how this works. Hopefully it gets people more lions and gold and whatever they need to grind, and hopefully they have fun doing it. They help each other's team out. And I want more teamwork to come from this game. So this is a step in the right direction for me. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think there are any more roles that they could distinguish amongst the tanks? Maybe separate, you know, little features here or there can start diversifying tanks a lot more. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And feel free to leave any suggestion you'd like. I'll read it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
I was a terror since the public school era. Bathroom passes, cutting classes, squeezing asses. Smoking blunts was a daily routine since 13. A chubby nigga on the scene. I used to have the tray deuce and the deuce in my bubble goose. Now I got the Mac in my knapsack, lounging black, smoking sacks up in axe and sidekicks with my sidekicks, rocking fly kicks.